Hi, my name's Jeff. I go by A2 Trader in the trading rooms, and I'm also going to be the host of the Futures Trading Hub. And I've been a trader for 15 years, and I have started off at the very, very early beginnings of training and learning and being frustrated and confused. Which asset class do you trade? What markets do you trade? What indicators do you use? What's good? What's not? I've lived through all of that. And luckily, I've been able to overcome a lot of those with help of friends as well as trading coaches. And I'm hearing a lot of that out of folks today. And so I wanted to give back a little bit. What I wanted to do was start this trading hub and make this trading hub rather. I want to try to make this a place that people can go to learn the hacks, the tricks, going over the indicators, what indicators work, what indicators don't, what makes a good supply zone, what makes a bad supply zone, resistance, and that kind of stuff. I've looked through a lot of the YouTube videos, and it's all very commercially driven, it seems like. And I even sat through one, which is really good, by the way. I forget the person's name. I'll leave the link in the bottom. But it was learn how to trade futures in 30 minutes. And that's just a guise to a failure. And that's not going to work. And so what I wanted to do was to get a more pointed, focused effort on certain things. So what I want to do, and I'll go through some of the details here in a few minutes about some of the topics I want to probably attack. I also am going to go through what I believe are the top 10 lessons I learned from trading over 15 years. Now, to be fair, I started off just where a lot of people are at right now today, confused, frustrated, and so on and so forth. And I worked my way up to algorithmic trading, which when you use algorithms, the system does it for you. It's automated. You've designed the strategy. You've told it what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But you let the system do it yourself, and it takes the person out of the trade, takes the anxiety out, and you have confidence in this strategy because you can back test it and prove that it works. It's easy to do those things, and I want to walk you through all of that. There's certain things that I use for exits and for entries, and I want to talk about those as well. But there's also the other aspect of it is the psychology. Right? It's the psychology of trading is actually a thing. It's a thing when you're not confident, stop trading, go to the paper, go to the simulators and trade, because lack of confidence is going to be the very, very first thing that drives your anxiety and is going to cause you to make mistakes. So rest assured that when we start going through these topics, I'm going to start going through that as well. Another thing is we want to remove the complexity out of trading. One of the first sessions I'm going to go, one of the first, not the first, but one of the first, is going to be, what market are you trading, right? And do you know and understand what happens in that market? If you're trading oil and don't understand what the actual oil trades are for, then you're not going to be successful at it. So it's going through everything that makes it simplifies the trade. The trading environment, rather, probably is a better way of saying it. So I'm going to go through all this. I wanted to create this just an introductory video to tell you what was on my mind, what I'm trying to do. I'm very happy to get input from the team, both for improving it as well as give me some ideas on what you're struggling with, and maybe if I can help, I certainly will. We also have an alternative of looking at of doing a live stream, right? So we can do live streams where we can have live Q&A. We can go through trade reviews together. We can do all kinds of different things if it's warranted. If there's an audience for it, I'm more than happy to do that. This is a free site. It's going to remain free. You can subscribe, but it's free subscriptions. I don't want to charge anything for this. I'm just trying to give back to some people that I know want to make their investment pay off for them. If you're like me, I went down this path to create a retirement income. I wanted to have something I could do in retirement where I could still work, still be productive, but be doing something other than working for somebody else. So I think that holds true with a lot of different people. So let's get started. We'll start going through some topics, and let me get the screen up, and we'll start going through some topics, as well as we're going to finish with the top 10 things I've learned over 15 years. Another thing to state, I guess, in this session is the very first session I'm going to have is where I want you to set your eyes and set your goals to. It's the golden standard. It's going to be an automated trading system. I'm going to show you what mine does. It's not for sale. I've asked people to ask me before. I'm not going to do it. I don't want it. I don't want to sell it, but I want to show you what you can create yourself and make this work for you. If you just start following the steps that we're laying out over a period of time, as you learn, you're going to start going that direction. And my strategy won't work for you. Your strategy is going to have to be about you, about what you see in a trade, what you see in a chart, where your confidence level is, where your account profile is at, everything. So I'm going to go through that in the first session just to let you see what that looks like. And then we're going to back up to some more basic stuff. But we'll go through that here in just a second. Let me get the chart set up. Here is, hi, okay, I'm back. I've got it all set up now. So what we're going to do here is look at the Futures Trading Hub, what our intentions are. Now, those intentions will change over time. Trust me, it's going to. It's going to have to. But this is where I wanted to try to start from. And so I wanted to give you an idea of what I was thinking about, and then take some feedback from everybody else. Please join and subscribe and like, so that more people that can get involved in this, and the more people can see this, the more people we help, number one. And number two, the more people are going to be able to feed input into us as well. Okay? So let's talk about some of the topics that we're going to look at. So the Futures Trading Hub is going to cover a multitude of things. Each one of these topics could consist of 3 or 4 videos. I don't want to make the videos long. Like I said, maybe 20 minutes. We have short attention spans now, but I want to make sure that we're able to look at them. So the top 10 lessons in 15 years, we'll address that here in a minute. Going to the basics, I'm going to assume that you're already trained traders. If you're not, there's some places you can learn how to trade futures, about the basics of futures. And if it's even a request, maybe I could think about doing that. But there are some YouTube videos out there that talk about trading futures and trading future contracts, how contracts are bought and sold, and the issues around that. But so the basics, I'm assuming that you already know charting, candlestick charting, supply and demand. That's going to come in a minute, but the basics, right? Candlestick patterns, adding indicators to charts, that kind of stuff. That's another thing I need to say. I did a survey of 1,000 traders. I got a lot of feedback, not from everybody, but there was a lot of people using TradeStation. I use TradeStation as well. I've tried them all. Think or Swim was a big one as well. But Think or Swim, people use to order in. So the trading platform I'm going to use is TradeStation. I use it today. I've used them all. A lot of people in the survey I took use TradeStation. Most of them. Some of them use TradeStation for charting and Think or Swim for ordering, putting in orders as an example. The way I trade, I can't do that. And so we're going to be using TradeStation as a platform, but it's going to apply to any of the platforms that you've got, right? Some things may be a little bit different, but they're all going to be capable of doing the same type of activities. Okay. So we'll look at the basics. We'll talk about supply and demand and the limitations of that. I know a lot of people including myself, we're trained on supply and demand. And we were trained that this is the way you trade. Support and resistance is another name for supply and demand. But support is anything that's going to support your trade. Resistance is anything that's going to resist it. Supply and demand is, they're more directional. Nonetheless, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk to you about what I've learned about them, who I know have been successful trading with that, and how I use it today based on everything I've learned. Which market is right for me? That we'll talk about that in the top 10 as well. But which market is right for me? We need to figure out what is right for you. I know I landed on futures. I trusted. I looked at all asset classes. I landed on futures, and I landed on the Nasdaq futures. So, and in a particular chart as well, right? A particular chart, particular time frame. So we need to help you understand how do you figure out what your time frame look like, what market is right for you. Where are our strengths, right? We want to build on the strengths, and most people tend to try to build on the weaknesses, try to fix your weaknesses, but really we need to build on our strengths. We can trade out of any one market in any 3-hour time frame to make enough money for a day. You can do that for the most part. I mean, not always, but for the most part. So we want to build on what you're good at so you can go and be better at that. So determine what is an entry strategy, right? How many entry strategies? I have one, just one. That's the only one that's the only one I use. My rules forbid me from using anything else. And then the exit strategies. I'm sorry for that. And then once we determine an entry strategy, exit strategies. I personally have 5 exit strategies, but we want to talk about direction, volume, resistance, trade. There's all kinds of different ways to exit a trade, all kinds of different indicators that tell you when to exit a trade. So we want to talk about all of those. And these are going to be multiple sessions, as I said. Trade consistency. How do you drive consistency within your trading? Back testing. So now we have a strategy, and we will have a strategy that we'll follow. Pick one. We'll pick one to work with, and then how do we back test it to make sure it really works? And we'll go through those steps, and then I want to take you back into strategy automation because that needs to be your golden nugget. That's where you need to be striving for. Sitting in front of a computer all day long, looking for zones or looking for indicators, is no way to live a life. So you want to get into this strategy automation. So let's talk now about the 10 drivers of consistency that I've learned over 15 years of trading. The first one's find your own style. I mean, we were taught how to trade by certain people that had certain styles, and we tend to stick with that. What I'm going to ask you to do is find a way to build, if you're not already, of pulling out of that particular style and look for one that fits you. Your eyes have to be aligned correctly to a market, as an example. So we're going to ask you to look at different things in order to identify your own style. Anxiety is the enemy. Is the next thing. It really is. You got to find ways to get around that. I've read multiple books on trading psychology. I'm not a psychiatrist, and I'm not smart in it, so don't take that the wrong way. But I looked for the golden nuggets in multiple books and was able to build my confidence in my trading, which reduced the anxiety and which made me more consistent, obviously. So anxiety is the enemy. We've got to find a way to get out of that. Anxiety comes from the possibility of losing a trade, losing the money, losing the trade, whatever it happens to be. You're anxious about the way the market's moving. So we're going to find ways to eliminate anxiety from our trading. So the next one is keep it simple, stupid, right? I see Kiss, I think of the rock band. But keep it simple, stupid is a lot of people have a lot of complex trading styles. In other words, 18 things have to occur, or you're looking at 14 different markets, all looking for different types of trades. We need to make this as simple as we possibly can, because I'll be the first to tell you right now, you can pick one market, one asset class for 3 hours a day, and you can make the money you need to make. That making the amount of money you need to make is not an issue. What's the issue is how we approach it. So the next one is, and I sort of mentioned this, one asset class and one market. I'm going to show you how you can look at all the different asset classes. And if you line up with futures, that's awesome, because then I can continue to help you. If you don't line up with futures, my philosophy still works on Forex as well as stocks, but I don't trade it. If you line up with futures, how do we get down to one market? Each market moves differently, and we have to understand what we're going to trade, what our eyes align up with, what our mind lines up with, what we know is going to happen. And I'll tell you right now, I lined up with the NASDAQ futures, and my style works in all of them, but I lined up with the NASDAQ futures. I can tell you exactly how it breathes almost every day. So we're going to work on trying to figure out how you can get down to one market and where you're working just a couple hours a day to make the targets that you're trying to make. The last one is entry strategies. If we have a chart, or a screen rather, with 8 markets across the chart, could be different asset classes, could be Forex and futures and stocks. But when we look at all of these, we also have different entry strategies. You have to have a different entry strategy for each different type of trade. The markets, the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the Russell, and the S&P 500, they don't have the same entry strategies, folks. They don't. And so you have to figure out which markets you want, and then start looking at the entry strategies. I'm going to recommend one entry strategy. You have one strategy for your one market, and that's all you do. That's going to be where I'm going to. Now, if you choose not to go there with me, I get it. I understand it. It's tough to wrap your mind around it, but ultimately that's where I ended up at, and that's how I ended up driving efficiencies. The next one is multiple exit strategies. Right? We talked a little bit about that before. You got volume. There's a multiple different exit strategies. You got different indicators to create a different exit strategy, moving averages. You name it. There's a number of ways to do it, but I'm going to suggest you have more than one, okay? Because there's more than one way to tell what the market's going to do. And when we start talking about exit strategies, I'm going to start asking you about reading the tape as an example. I've actually got it there. Reading the tape is a strategy is a tactic that is used by traders on Wall Street, traders in the CME, to figure out what the next move of that particular market is going to look like. And I can show you how to read the tape on TradeStation. I'm sure you can do it on the other ones as well. But we can read the tape there as well. We don't have to have these $2,500 a month systems in order to do it. So we can do that as well. And I'd like to show you how to do that, because I've never seen anybody go down that path until I did. And it's very, very helpful for me as far as an exit strategy goes. The next thing you got to think about, all strategies work. They do. There's been strategies of Bollinger Bands, right? That's a strategy that works. It was made by a very intelligent person. It's been proven time and time again to work. The problem is we don't trade them the way they're supposed to be traded. So if we trade the strategies the way they're supposed to be traded with consistency, you'll consistently win. Now, it's difficult to do. And you can't do it by working 15 different strategies at the same time. That won't work for you. But what we're going to do is find out which strategy works for you and stick to it. And I'll go through a lot of them, a lot of the different strategies, not just my own. My own is a Donchian strategy per se. That's a minimal part of it, but it's compared to the Bollinger Bands. But there's multiple other strategies we're going to look at. And I also want you to bring me yours. Send me your strategies and let's go through it. Let's back test it. Let's see if it works. So that's going to be another section that we talk about. Another one is strategy defines stop. Okay, I know this is going to go against what you've been told, and this is going to go against what you believe, but I can prove to you, I can absolutely prove to you, if you ever move your stop, you'll make less money. It's that simple. I can prove it, and so I'll show it to you. When we backtest a trade, when we backtest a strategy, that's one thing we'll do. We'll change our stop, and you'll see it will result in less profit. So it goes against common thought, common knowledge. But it's the way it works, and I'll show you, and we'll work through that together. But anyway, the other point to that was stick to your stop. Don't move it one way or the other. If you have a strategy that says your stop is going to be 2 points below your entry or below or above your entry, then maybe it's going to be 2 points below or above your entry. But whatever you define as what's in your strategy, stick to it. If it's all possible, work within a group. That's where I started gaining strength. When the mastermind used to be in OTA anyway, used to be a place we all went to. There was hundreds of people in it, or probably tens. When I started, there was only 50 members, so there was 50 of us in it, and then it just got way too busy, and so myself and a couple, like five or six other traders, went off to another trade room. And we started making progress. We started trying different things. We had different backgrounds. We had different trading styles. We even traded different markets, but we bounced things off of each other. It was very, very, very helpful. If you could do that, if there's any way at all you can do that, I would suggest it. When you're trading during the day, trade with partners. Finally, I mentioned before, automation is your golden ticket. It's really the key for consistency. Consistency drives confidence. Confidence drives winning trades. Winning trades drives profitability. That's the recipe. So we want to get you from where you are today through learning all these things that I learned, because you'll learn them and you'll overcome them if you stick with this. I want to help you learn a 6-month lesson in 20 minutes is what I want to try to do. Or maybe a 6-month lesson in maybe 3 or 4 weeks of lessons. So automation is your golden ticket. It just really is. So I'm excited about going down this path. As I said before, I'm enjoying giving back. I did do trade coaching for 5 years, and I've done strategy development for a number of different people. I think I had probably 100 students for strategy development. And I'm going to use all those skills that I got throughout the years. I'm going to bring them to you absolutely 100% free, no charge whatsoever. And so this helps me feel better. I'm giving back to the community that helped me become consistent. So the next section we're going to have is, believe it, we're going to start at the end. It's this last automation is the golden ticket. That's what we're going to look at first. I want you to see what you need to strive to, right? I've got several strategies. I'll pull one out and I'll put one up there and I'll show you everything about it. What's the entry? What are the exits? Why is it profitable? How profitable was it over the last 30 days? And how we can back test it 6 months, because I use tick charts. We don't have to use tick charts to do that anyway, but you can only go back 6 months with tick charts. So we can back test this for 6 months. This will tell us how much we can expect to get out of the market, how much, if we take out smaller portions per trade, we'll make more money in the long run, right? We can see all of this. We can see all of this. Back testing with an automated strategy takes minutes. If you do it by hand, it takes hours and days. So I want to show you what that looks like first, so you know where you're going, so you can see what's at the end of the rainbow. And then let's work on how to get there. Okay, well, again, I'm Jeff, A2 Trader. Please feel free to absolutely like. If you got anything out of this at all, please like it. Please subscribe to this so you'll see when new episodes come out. And then I'm open to any feedback or any notes that you want to put in below as well, so we can share with other traders as well. So have a good day, and I'll get the next one up in the next 3 to 4 days. Thank you.